Now we take up the chapter Work, Power and Energy. My dear students, in whole of physics, this dynamics, which is motion in one dimension, two dimension, Newton's laws, they are all fundamental. In addition, your work power energy is most fundamental chapter it is. What do you mean by the work? You know that suppose you have a body, see, you will apply the force on this body, and on application of the force, if there is a displacement, then only you can say that work is done. You are applying force, if the body is not moving, then you cannot say work is done. On applying the force, if there is a displacement, then you can say work is done. And if this displacement makes an angle theta, remember your work done is given by the formula, basic formula, force into the displacement. Therefore, here it is equal to W is equal to F dot S. F is a vector, S is a vector, but work is a scalar. Therefore, the formula is Fs into cos theta. Very important formula it is. See, when theta is equal to 0, theta is equal to 0 means, so the force and the displacements are parallel. Under that condition, you know that the cos 0 is equal to 1. Therefore, your work done is equal to maximum, that is F into S is equal to maximum. When theta is equal to 90, when angle theta is equal to 90, you know that the force and the displacements are perpendicular to each other. Your cos 90 is equal to 0. Therefore, your work done is given by 0. That means no work is done when the angle between the force and the displacement is 0. Now we look at the another point. See, if you take a body in a circle, so that means you have a body, you move this body in a circle, you are coming to the same point. If you ask me, what is the work done? F into S. But, see, when you in the circle, you will come to the same point, displacement is 0, therefore, work done is equal to 0. These are the important points that you should remember. See, when this angle theta is equal to something like 60 degree, you know that your cos 60 is equal to half. If you ask me what is the work done, your work done is given by F into S into half, that's equal to Fs by 2. These things you have to remember, it's very important. Then you know that the unit of work is, so unit of work is called as a, so it is joule. Unit of work is joule. Very important. So, but it is a SI unit, but CGS unit is what is called as a, we call it as a erg. Very important. And your, remember, 1 joule is equal to 10 to the power of 7 ergs. You should remember all these points. Now coming to the, so now I have explained in detail about what is meant by the work. Now you come to the power. When you come to the power, you know that the basic definition of power P is equal to, so it is a rate of doing work or work by time. Therefore, your P is equal to W by T. This is called rate of doing work. At what rate you are doing the work is important. So your unit of power is joule per second, and this we call it as a watt. It's very important. It is called watt. So this is first definition of the power, that it is a rate of doing work. Second definition of the power is equal to, it is the amount of energy emitted per second. And that's why what we write, this P is equal to energy given out by time. It is also very important. When you talk about the bulb, so your bulb is 40 watt means it is giving out 40 joules of energy in 1 second. That's what we mean to say that power of the bulb is 50 watt. This also, when you come for the sound, you will talk about 40 joules per second means it's giving out 40 watt. And one more definition of the work is, suppose if here is a body, here is a body. On this body you are exerting a force F. That is just like here is a horse pulling this cart. Here is a cart and it has been pulled by the horse with a definite velocity. You know the expression for the power? It is force into velocity. Force into velocity. Therefore, power is equal to F into V. Very, very important. See, SI unit of power is, you know that SI unit of power we call it as a watt. So it is watt and it is denoted by W, capital W. See that practical unit, as you know, is practical unit of power is what is known as a horsepower or HP. Remember always your 1 HP is equal to 746 watt. These things you have to remember. Very, very important. See, you have a commercial unit of energy. See that commercial unit of energy means you must be knowing that you are measuring. So the commercial unit of energy means you are measuring the power at home. So that is electric power, that what you are measuring, that's a commercial unit and it is kilowatt hour. So it is called kilowatt hour and it is kWh, kilowatt hour. And it is 1 kilowatt hour is equal to how many joules? If you ask me, 1 kilo means 1000. Watt means 1 joule per second. 1 hour means 60 seconds. So 1 hour means 60 minutes and it is equal to 60 seconds, 3600 seconds. Second get cancelled. Therefore, it comes out to be 36 into 10 to the power of 5 joules. Always remember, it's very important. See in your electric meter board, electric meter, if you see that, if 36 lakhs of joules of energy is consumed, then it is said to be 1 unit, which we call it as 1 kilowatt hour of energy. Look, if you put the geyser, so it moves faster, that means the disk in the meter moves faster means it is consuming more power. But whereas if you put LED bulb and all these things, so the power consumption is less and the disk will move slower. This practicality you should remember when you come for the power. Okay. Next is, the very important thing is the energy. You know that the basic definition of energy is capacity to do work. So it is a capacity to do work means if you want to calculate the energy, so you have to calculate the work. See, you know that energy manifests itself in the different forms. But in the mechanical energy is of two types. One is called potential energy and other is called as a kinetic energy. Potential energy is possessed by the virtue of the change in the position of a body. By virtue of change in the position of a body or because of the change in the configuration of a body. You remember all these things. Very important. Therefore, potential energy is given by the formula, it is mgh. When you come to kinetic energy, see, kinetic energy is due to the, by virtue of the motion of a body. By virtue of the motion of a body. If any body is set into the motion, it will have a kinetic energy. See, the expression for the kinetic energy is equal to half mv square. Very important expression it is. Very, very important expression for the kinetic energy. See, example for the kinetic energy is, if you take a bullet, just you throw it out, it will not have much of kinetic energy. Use just a gun and use the bullet in the gun and you trigger, it will have a higher velocity, higher kinetic energy. But potential energy is the water stored in the reservoir as a higher potential energy. And you know that there is a law of conservation of energy. So your law of conservation of energy means, so law of conservation of energy mean to say that energy is neither created nor destroyed. Yes, 100% you know that you cannot create energy. You know that when water starts falling in the waterfall, in the joke falls, let us say, so it, at the height it has a potential energy, and when it comes down, all that potential energy is converted into kinetic energy. See, look here, suppose if you have a body here, so and it is at a certain height from the ground, it is a ground. So when this body is at this height, look, here is a body of mass m. When it is at this height, it has 100% potential energy. Potential energy is 100%, kinetic energy is equal to 0. But if we calculate the total energy, it is equal to 100%. As the body starts falling down, you know that as it starts falling, its velocity increases, kinetic energy increases. When it comes from the position A to position B, its potential energy which was 100%, now decreases to 60%. And kinetic energy, we'll see that it is equal to 40% because its velocity increases. Potential and kinetic energy increases. Height was more, now height decreases, kinetic energy decreases. Therefore, your total energy is equal to 100%. Now, when it comes to the point C, before it touches the ground, you know that the potential energy is equal to 0, height is 0, but kinetic energy is maximum, that is 100. Therefore, total energy is equal to 100%. What does it mean? At this point, at this point, at this point, energy is constant, and this is called as a law of conservation of energy. Energy will appear either in the kinetic form or in the potential form, but total energy remains the same. Here also it is potential and kinetic, but total energy remains a constant. So that is the meaning. That is, you cannot create it. So you cannot create potential energy. You cannot create, but you can transform. Look, here you are transferring the 100% potential to 60%. 0 to 6. You are not creating. This is the meaning of law of conservation of energy. Everywhere you are getting the light and all, you are not creating. You are actually transforming energy from one form to the other form. This is called the law of conservation of energy. Now we come to what is known as a work energy theorem. See, in the work energy theorem, so what does it mean in the work energy theorem? It's a very simple thing. Look here. You have a body of mass m moving with some initial velocity. U. Let us say the kinetic energy, its moving means it has a kinetic energy, let us say 10 joules. What you do is, you give a force on this one. I am giving the force. You know that its velocity increases. This is called final velocity. See, velocity increases. That means velocity increases means kinetic energy increases. Let us say kinetic energy is equal to 100 joules. So you have applied the force. There is a displacement. If you come and ask me, what is the work done? What I'll do, you know. The net work done is given by, according to this theorem, the net work done is equal to change in the kinetic energy. Change in the kinetic energy. What does it mean? You want to calculate the work done. Change in the kinetic energy is Ke2 minus Ke1. Therefore, that is equal to Ke2 is equal to 100 and it is 10. Therefore, your work done is equal to 90 joules. This is the meaning of what is known as a work energy theorem. What is that? So here is a body, you will apply the force, work is done. If you ask me how much is work is done, calculate final kinetic energy and initial kinetic energy. That's a change in kinetic energy that will give you the work done. Now we come to very, very important thing called as a collisions. So collisions. See, you know that collision is of three types. One is perfectly elastic collision. See, in a perfectly elastic collision is the one in which what we call it as your coefficient of restitution is equal to 1. Here, both the law of conservation of energy and the law of conservation of momentum are obeyed. So, the conservation of energy and the momentum are obeyed. That's why it is called perfectly elastic. There is another kind of collision called perfectly inelastic collision. Perfectly inelastic collision. In the perfectly inelastic collision, coefficient of restitution is 0. You know the meaning of this. See, you take a wax ball. You take a wax ball, just you drop it. It will never come up. It will stick to the ground. That's what is a coefficient of restitution is 0. In a perfectly elastic collision, it is like what is known as two interatomic collisions. For two atomic collision, if two atoms collide with each other, conservation of energy and momentum is conserved and obeyed, and therefore we say E is equal to 1. Between these two, there is another kind of collision, and it is called imperfectly elastic. It is called imperfectly elastic collision. And there it between 0 to 1. Very important thing. If you ask me how to calculate this, so coefficient of restitution, very simple. Here is a body of mass m, and here is a So you are dropping that body from a height h1. Now what you do is, on dropping this body, it will rise to a certain height. It rises to a certain height, that is h2. See, the height to which it rises, it depends on the nature of the ball and nature of the surface, which decides the kind of collision. Then that coefficient of restitution is given by the formula h2 by h1. Very, very important formula. Another formula for this is equal to v2 minus v1 divided by u2 minus u1 with a negative sign. So this is the expression for the what is known as a coefficient of restitution. It is called Newton's coefficient of restitution. Very, very important it is. You calculate to decide whether elastic, inelastic or imperfectly elastic. If it is between, most of the collisions are neither perfectly elastic nor inelastic, it is in between.